Welcome to the Ministry of Information, where this morning the minister's press briefing is not what we're having. We're having the Meet the Press. And the ministry that is joining us this morning is the Minister for, or the Ministry for Lands and Natural Resources. The minister and his deputies and the entire leadership of the ministry are here, and they'll be speaking to us shortly on a number of issues. This morning, there are 5 major things he'll be speaking to. The first is just a general background, which is to speak to the contribution of mining to the economy as we know it currently. But beyond that, there are 4 major issues that the minister will be speaking to, and I'd like to encourage you to take note of these 4 major issues and have our conversation as much as possible center around these 4 issues. First is the illegal rosewood harvesting in Ghana and the measures that the government is taking to ensure that it is kept. Second is what we call the urban renewal projects that are going on in parts of the country, particularly parts of the capital. This includes the Marine Drive projects, the National Cathedral as well. These are part of the urban renewal projects. The minister will be speaking to them. Third is the digitization and automation of land registration. We've struggled with it for some decades now. Thankfully, some good work has been done in that area, and the minister has an update for us. Digitization and automation of land registration. And finally, the minister will speak to us on the implementation of what we call the forest plantation strategy. The forest plantation strategy. And after that, we will invite your questions, and the Honorable Minister will do well to respond to them.
It is my pleasure to be here this morning to brief you on the current status of implementation of programs and projects being pursued by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources within the National Medium-Term Development Policy Framework 2018 to 2021 and other national and international strategic plans such as the Sector Medium-Term Plans 2018 to 2021, the Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, the African Union Agenda 2063, and the Ghana Beyond Aid Charter and Strategy document. This is in line with the President's Coordinated Program of Economic and Social Development Policies 2017 to 2024, an agenda for jobs, creating prosperity and equal opportunity for all. These programs and projects are geared towards attaining sustainable economic growth with the focus of creating employment and ensuring environmental sustainability as well as a favorable investment climate. I am here with my 2 deputies, Honorable Benito Usubio and Honorable Nana Eyia. Also present are the Chief Executives of the Forestry, Minerals, and Land Commissions, the Administrator of Stool Lands, the Acting Director General of Ghana Geological Survey Authority, the Chief Executive of the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, Managing Director of the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, members of the various boards, the directors of the ministry and agencies. In terms of answering of questions, all these officers will partake. The minister's job is to read. Ladies and gentlemen, my presentation will cover key programs and projects being taken by the ministry to address the many challenges confronting the sector. With your kind permission, I wish to commence my presentation by touching on the land subsector Under this, we have improving land administration. The government's overall goal for land administration management is to ensure an effective and efficient land service delivery system that would provide the foundation for socio-economic development. This entails providing efficient access by government, MDAs, MMDAs, investors, and individuals who land for agriculture, industrial, commercial, civic, and residential development for investment in the land subsector. Efficient access, ladies and gentlemen, to land is to the success of government flagship projects, Sustainable Development Goals 1, 2, 5, 11, and 15, and the construction sector of our national economy. Relevant flagship projects that land is critical to include the following: revitalizing economy. Investors attracted to the Savannah, Middle Belt, and Coastal Development Authorities will require land for their investments. Identification, creation, and acquisition of lands for industrial parks and industrial activities are crucial to national industrialization policy. 2. Revamp economic and social infrastructure. Land acquisition, statutory way leaves, and compensation settlements are critical activities under the railway network expansion to the northern Ghana and also the Tema-Akosombo rail link. 3. Transform agriculture and industry. Identification of suitable lands and efficient access to unencumbered land are critical for 1. Planting for food and jobs beneficiaries. 2. One village, one dam for all year-round farming. 3. One district, one factory. Please, planting for food and jobs, one village, one dam, one district, one factory are all in parentheses. 4. Warehousing projects. Guidelines for large-scale land transactions. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lands Commission, in line with government goal to ensure an effective and efficient land for socio-economic development, has developed guidelines for large-scale land transactions in Ghana. The guidelines are aimed at assisting customary landowners and resource users, investors, and other decision makers to better appreciate the due process one must follow to acquire land on a large scale for investment purposes. Large scale in this regard is prima facie 50 acres and above, but with exceptions depending on human rights and environment concerns triggered by the acquisition. The guidelines may apply. The objectives of the guidelines are 2. 1. Minimize speculative acquisitions and any practices that would undermine state policy on land development. 2. Protect the interests of local communities by avoiding a situation where investors or individuals who acquire large tracts of land usurp the rights of the large population and in the process subvert the intent of Article 36(8) of the Constitution of Ghana. 3. Safeguard the interests of genuine investors by ensuring that their acquisition lead to secured rights in the atmosphere of mutual trust so as to promote the principles in international law relating to foreign direct investment, FDI. 4. Promote better land use and ensure that all acquisitions are made for uses that would conform to the land use plan of the areas involved. 5. promote government development policy objectives by facilitating initiatives that will foster job creation, income generation, and equity in resource distribution in line with Ghana's development agenda. 6, ensure that large-scale land transactions in the country conform to suitable development goals and international best practices. Urban renewable projects. Ladies and gentlemen, the ministry, in consultation with other stakeholders, in consolidating the facilitation of government's vision to put the national capital city on a competitive pedestal comparable to emerging major cities in the world. In line with this, the ministry has facilitated the surveying and acquisition of appropriate legal interests in various land areas earmarked for these transformational projects. These include Marine Drive Tourism Project, Energy City Project, which we call Airport Phase 2, Greater Accra Site for Industrial Enclave and Urban Renewal Project, the National Cathedral Project, which is just behind you, redevelopment of Kumasi Sector 18, redevelopment of Sekondi Takoradi Beach Road, and other urban development, including my town, Sunyani. The ministry, with the involvement of the Lands Commission, is also facilitating the following. 1. Ghana-Togo Boundary Commission. 2. Verification and validation of the boundaries of the 6 newly created regions for final boundary survey works. 3. Satellite city development projects and other national initiatives. Geospatial policy. The geospatial policy to guide survey and mapping activities in the country has been submitted to Cabinet for consideration and approval. Turnaround time. Ladies and gentlemen, Ghana has 2 land registration systems, namely the deeds registration system and title registration system. The latter is the registration system in the Greater Accra region and parts of Kumasi. Government's overall objective is to deliver land title certificate within 30 working days, and these registration within 14 working days. It will interest you to note on this registration, which is mostly done across the country apart from the Greater Accra region and parts of Kumasi, the average turnaround time for this registration is currently within the targeted 14 days. Title registration within 30 days in Accra remains a challenge to the Lands Commission. To this end, government is exploring the best strategies and appropriate partnerships to implement the key activities aimed at reducing the time taken to register land transactions to meet the government's target. Ladies and gentlemen, in line with the government's policy of private sector participation, the ministry is further exploring strategies aimed at leveraging the potential of private sector capital and expertise in the land administration reforms. In fulfillment of this, as you will recall, a market sounding event was recently held under the auspices of the Office of the Vice President to measure the level of interest of the private sector. The event showed that the private sector was highly interested in the transformation agenda of the land subsector. In order to deepen the strategy, a market analysis and feasibility study has been undertaken to establish areas of participation of the private sector within the laws of the country. Possible areas of private sector participation being considered include digitizing and automating land registration process to improve the speed and accuracy of land registration for both deeds and title. 2, preparing up-to-date, accurate maps through the development of digital orthophoto and topographical maps and other spatial data. This is aimed at increasing the speed, accuracy, and reduction in the cost of land registration in the country. 2, land revenue mobilization and disbursement. A number of activities were undertaken, ladies and gentlemen, geared towards improving stool land revenue mobilization and disbursement to stated beneficiaries, including metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, MMDAs, stools, traditional authorities. These revenue sources include mineral royalties, timber royalties, ground rent, farm rent, and mining concession rent. In the year 2018, the office mobilized a total amount of nearly 58 million Ghana cedis. As at June 2019, a total amount of 50 million, representing over 40% of revenue targeted of 110 million Ghana cedis, was mobilized and disbursed. This shows a marked improvement over that of previous year. We have almost attained what we had last year. Monitoring of projects by MMDAs undertaken with stool land revenue. The ministry, through the Office of Administrator of Stool Lands, monitored projects undertaken by MMDAs with their portion of stool lands revenue they received. This is to ensure that MMDAs prudently utilize such revenue. Some of the projects include residential accommodation for health workers, community center, and surgical ward at Bupe, district hospital at Asutifi North, and construction of schools in Damongo, Abidjan. One will ask whether Abidjan is in Ghana or it is in Cote d'Ivoire. And Asawasi, to mention a few. Improving customary land administration. Establishment of customary land secretariat. In order to improve efficiency in customary land administration, 3 customary land secretariats were established to bring the total customary lands secretariat established across the country to 94. These are at Enya, Chabokwe, Bamvim, and Yendi. Development of draft handbook on customary land administration. The ministry, through the Office of Administrator of Stool Lands, in collaboration with Colandev, a non-governmental organization, has developed a draft handbook for documenting customary land rights in Ghana to complement government's efforts at improving customary land administration. It is estimated that about 80% of all lands in the country fall under customary ownership. The development of the handbook is therefore crucial to help resolve the myriad of challenges that plague the customary land administration system. The mining subsector. The benefits of mining to our country, ladies and gentlemen, cannot be overstated. The sector is a key part of Ghana's economy, providing jobs for thousands and generating revenue for the government. Notwithstanding these benefits, the negative impacts of mining cannot be ignored. Most prominent of these impacts is the environmental degradation. Government is therefore committed to ensuring that mining is done in a safe and environmentally friendly manner. Permit me to highlight some key achievements as well as strategies being implemented under the Sector Medium Development Plan, SMTDP 2018 to 2021, to address the challenges of the mining subsector. Contribution of mining to Ghana's economy. The sector has so far generated 1.3 billion Ghana cedis as government revenue, representing 17% of total government revenue gathered for the year 2019. As collected by the Ghana Revenue Authority, that reflects on increase of 39% in the sector's contribution to government revenue relative to the 980 million contributed in 2018. It means we are making very good strides in the mining sector. An amount of $3.3 billion has been generated by the sector in 2019 as export earnings, as compared to $3 billion generated over the same period in 2018, making mining a major forest earner in Ghana. In terms of job creation, we have direct and indirect aspects of same. Most importantly, the mining sector continues to generate employment for the people of Ghana, providing livelihood for thousands across the country. As at June 2019, a total of 26,425 persons are employed or were employed directly and indirectly by the mining sector. This is a marked improvement over last year's full-year employment figure of 23,894. Indirect employment, under which we have local content in mining. Ghanaian participation in the mining sector has been on the rise. In 2018, local procurement of goods accounted for 87.3%. In dollar-wise, it was $1.4 billion of total procurement in the mining sector. Whilst not resting these recent achievements, the government in 2018 introduced a new category of services that will be provided solely by Ghanaians from mining communities. As at June 2019, a total of 25 local companies have been registered by the Minerals Commission, to provide these services. Opening up this space is expected to generate more employment and benefit to the local economy. 2. Alternative livelihood programs. Whilst not relying solely on industry to generate employment for Ghanaians, the government, through mining sector agencies, is undertaking alternative livelihood programs within 25 mining communities in eastern, central, and western regions. The aim of the program is to generate economically viable non-mining jobs in mining communities as a way of stemming the menace of illegal mining, so that you find our brothers doing galamsey, joining them for very good results, and we do away with acts that would destroy the ecology. Let me say that to date, a total of over 5,301 jobs, formal and informal, have been created in mining communities made up of 3,860 males and 1,441 females, representing 73% and 27% respectively. Our ladies don't like farming, but they struggle to attain all other positions. Investments in the mining subsector. Ladies and gentlemen, Ghana is in an attractive mining investment destination in Africa. Over the years, the sector has seen a steady inflow of investment, and in 2018, a total of $953 million was pumped into the sector. Most of these investments went into projects such as the Obuasi redevelopment and setting up of engineering and support service companies. Mineral production. In terms of mineral production, annual targets remain achievable. With respect to gold, 2.1 million ounces have been produced by the country as at June 2019. Production of bauxite also remains impressive. As at June 2019, 450,517 tons of bauxite have been produced from the Awaso mines. Let me be quick to add that government has successfully mediated the recent labor unrest that threatened the bauxite mine. Kudos to the President, Nana Akufo-Addo. Development of industry for iron and bauxite. Exportation of the nation's mineral ore in the raw state is of a great concern to the government. To stop this practice and to add value to the country's mineral deposits, government is vigorously ensuring to develop and add value to existing bauxite and iron deposits. Development of aluminium industry. To develop the aluminium industry through the nation's bauxite deposit, government through Act 976, 2018, established Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, GIADEC. The chief executive is sitting right here. He will answer most of the questions. And set up a board in March 2019 to see to the management of the aluminium resource. GIADEC, since its inception, has focused its attention on the following: identifying strategic investors to partner GIADEC in the development of the integrated aluminium industry in Ghana. 2, developing a strong license to operate through sustained economic engagement and shared prosperity. 3, establishing and operationalizing the structures required to operate efficiently and effectively in order to deliver value to government and other stakeholders. 4, actively managing relationships with existing operations. Achievements of GIADEC since its inception. Ladies and gentlemen, GIADEC has since its establishment embarked on the following: 1, selection of strategic investors. GIADEC launched a 3-round investor engagement process earlier in the year and received expression of interest from 20 companies looking to invest across the bauxite aluminium value chain. 2, 16 reputable companies from different parts of the world, including Ghanaian firms, were pre-qualified to proceed to round 2 of the investor engagement rounds. 3, a formal request for proposal was sent out to the successful investors in August 2019. 4, GIADEC held a pre-submission investor briefing. 5, responses to the request for proposal are expected in October 2019. Stakeholder engagement. The corporation has engaged various stakeholders in the bauxite aluminium value chain and visited host communities of the bauxite mining areas and other traditional rulers. The corporation has also interacted with civil society organizations who have interest in the whole bauxite operation and associated environmental impacts. Ministries, departments, and agencies, including EPA, Minerals Commission, and Water Resources and Forestry Commission. 3, confirmation of bauxite resources deposit estimate. An international consulting firm and its Ghanaian counterparts have engaged to confirm the bauxite mineral resources, estimate in line with JORC, an international standard for measuring mineral resources. Verification drilling phase of the bauxite mineral resources estimate program has commenced in Kibi and Ninahin. Consolidating and digitization of all geological data on bauxite in Ghana has been done. Establishment of a database and data room at the Minerals Commission that holds all bauxite records in Ghana is being put in place. Plans are also advanced to halt exportation of raw bauxite as we pursue an integrated bauxite, alumina, and aluminium industry. Our laws cater for. So very soon, the manganese, the bauxite, and all other related minerals will be dealt with in Ghana. They will not go in their raw state, and therefore more monies will come under President Akufo-Addo. Ladies and gentlemen, Parliament recently passed the Ghana Iron and Steel Development Corporation Act 2019, Act 988, or the GISTEC Act. This act seeks to develop the iron and steel industry along the value chain. Government is currently putting in place the board of GISTEC. So those who are interested should apply, and same will be forwarded to the big house for consideration. This act seeks to develop the iron and steel industry along the value chain. Government is currently putting in place the board of GISTEC. We are currently putting it in place. It hasn't taken off. Ladies and gentlemen, apart from the iron ore deposits discovered at Sheni in the northern, upon Manso in the western, Pudo in upper west, and Apafu in the Oti regions, manganese is a key mineral that will support the development of the iron and steel industry, adding value to the precious minerals. The country has in the past been exporting gold without refining. Gold has also been exported with a true value or weight determined outside the country. To address the issue, government through the Precious Minerals Marketing Company for the past 2 years is undertaking assaying to determine the right weight of minerals exported. Similarly, PMMC is establishing a gold refinery to complement the only one in the country managed by a private company. Financial and technical audit of the mining industry to ensure sanity in the mining industry and optimal benefit from mining to the people of Ghana as well as investors. The ministry is mandated by law to safeguard prudent management in the mining subsector. In this regard, government is carrying out technical and financial audit of the operations of the mining industry. Now it is the turn of Chirano mines. They are being audited. Manganese, we have not completed the job. We are still talking. As I speak, the government is looking into the operations of the sole manganese producer in the country to ensure that the company operates within laid out regulations and also to find out their operational challenges. Unfortunately, the outcome of the audit resulted in a disagreement between the operator and government. To resolve the issue, government constituted a committee made up of some senior staff and leaders of workers' union of the firm and that of government. The committee was mandated to look into the issues and advise government accordingly. As I speak, the committee has submitted its report and it is receiving the necessary attention. As a follow-up, The outcome of the technical and financial audit, government is installing way bridges at vantage points along highways between production sites to the harbor. A marine surveyor has been engaged at the Takoradi Harbor by the Minerals Commission to ensure recordings of the right tonnage of exported mineral ores. Health and safety in the mining sector. Health and safety in the mining sector is a priority of the ministry. Working through sector agencies, a total of 905 routine mine inspections have been conducted so far, as against 956 conducted over the same period in 2018. Also, about 1,205 industry personnel passed various industry competency certificate examinations in 2019, as against 799 recorded in 2018. This is to ensure that mine workforce have adequate knowledge in their field of expertise as required by law. Implementation of an online mining cadastral system. In line with government's aim of improving the ease of doing business in Ghana, the ministry is implementing a paperless online with our minerals rights application system. Phase 1, that is data repository, has been completed and piloted in Minerals Commission's District 2. Two offices at Bolgatanga and Tagwa. Phase 2 of the project, which involves the total digitization of the licensing procedure, is underway and will be completed by December 2019. This platform, once fully operationalized, will allow improved access to information. This will enable mining companies, investors, stakeholders, and civil society to access mineral rights information from any part of the globe. To increase transparency in mineral rights administration and associated revenues, that is, recording of all revenues related to the licenses, among others. Management of small-scale mining. Distinguished audience, with the ban on small-scale mining lifted in 2018 December, the ministry anticipated an increase in small-scale mining activity. The ministry is therefore pursuing strategies that will ensure that the sector does not experience a relapse of activities that necessitated the ban. Some of the strategies include the following: stiffer punishment for illegal mining. An amendment to the Minerals and Mining Amendment Act 2015, Act 900, has been made and assented to by His Excellency the President. This amendment seeks to apply stiffer punishment for those who are caught engaging in illegal mining. The amendment increases the minimum fine to 10,000 penalty units and a maximum fine to 15,000 penalty units, or a term of imprisonment ranging from 15 years up to 25 years, or both a fine and imprisonment. And one penalty unit is 12 cedis. So if you multiply by 10,000 penalty units or 15,000, you know how much you'll be asked to pay if you are convicted and sentenced accordingly. Ghana ASM Formalization Project. The Ghana ASM Formalization Project is due to be launched soon. This is a flagship project of the ministry, and in conjunction with other strategies expected to regulate and assist ASM to improve efficiency of their operations, to ensure the use of appropriate, safe, and affordable technology in small-scale mining, to develop alternative livelihood projects in mining communities, to train miners on sustainable mining practices and extraction process, and to ensure stakeholders enforce the law reserving small-scale mining for Ghanaians. Community mining program. The ministry is also collaborating with other ministries to successfully implement the community mining program. The program is aimed at giving locals the opportunity to participate in mining in a well-structured way. Improve geology for small-scale mining. Ladies and gentlemen, responsible mining practice is a big challenge in the small-scale mining industry. As part of measures by government to stop illegal mining and poor mining practices by small-scale miners, the government through Ghana Geological Survey Authority and Minerals Commission has delineated a number of areas to be geologically investigated to identify zones of high mineral potential for small-scale mining. This is to enable small-scale miners to mine only at areas with rich mineralized zones and reasonable probability of success, and stop the bad mining practice of try and see, as the Gans will say, matramakwe, which has detrimental effects to the environment. Diversification of the mineral economy. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to continue to diversify the mineral economy of the country, to attract more investment into the mining subsector, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, with the main mission of providing geoscientific data and information for the development of the nation, is vigorously conducting geological field investigations across the country. I'm praying that very soon they will do so in my hometown, Jinjine, and they will find gold. Ladies and gentlemen, clay resource in the country is inadequately utilized for development. As part of the government's agenda of poverty eradication and the One District, One Factory initiative and industrialization, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority for the last 2 years has identified and evaluated 6 million metric tons of clay resources at Kwawu Fodwa in the Kwawu West municipality of Eastern Region, which is suitable for the production of high-quality bricks, tiles, and electrical porcelain. Intensification in limestone exploration activities. The upsurge of cement factories in recent times has led to the high demand for limestone in the country to produce clinker to make production and supply of cement affordable to Ghanaians. In view of this, government through Geological Survey Authority continues to intensify limestone exploration activities in the Mamprusi West District in order to feed the cement industry. Geological pitting by Ghana Geological Survey Authority in the Mamprusi West District has identified large limestone deposits in an area of about 15,000 acres suitable for clinker production. Increase exploration efficiency and effectiveness. The exploration companies continue to depend on the government for up-to-date regional geoscience information for effective exploration activities and efficiency, as well as in decision-making in acquisition of mineral concession. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to promote efficiency in mineral exploration in the country and attract more investors into the mining subsector, the government through Ghana Geological Survey Authority has completed regional soil geochemical sampling covering an area of about 180,000 acres in Tumu to aid the enhance mineral exploration activities in the Upper West region. Mitigation of earthquakes. Recent earth tremors are indication that the fault system in Ghana, particularly in Accra, are still active and stress continues to build up on them. The country experienced 2 earth tremors on the 13th of January and 2nd March 2019 with magnitudes 2.8 and 3.9 respectively on the Richter scale. These events followed the tremor felt on 24th March and 9th December 2018, both with magnitudes 3.3 on the Richter scale. In order to ensure the country is adequately prepared to reduce the risk of any future earthquake or earth tremor, an amount of 2.8 million Ghana cedis was released in May 2019 by the government to address the challenges with the Ghana Digital Seismic Network. These include cost of service level agreement, cost of spare parts, cost of satellite renewal, cost of establishing solar power systems. To ensure effective land use planning and decision making, geohazard mapping and risk assessment in Accra and around the Akuapem mountain range has been conducted. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now at forestry subsector. I think nobody will ask any question about rosewood. It is my pleasure to brief you on some achievements within the forestry subsector. Implementation of the National Plantation Development Strategy. The ministry continues to restore the nation's degraded forest landscape. Since 2017, emphasis has been placed on developing forest plantation as one of the presidential priority program of the ministry. This strategy is aimed at achieving sustainable supply of planted forest goods and services to deliver a range of economic, social, and environmental benefits. From 2017 to date, ladies and gentlemen, an estimated area of 20,073 hectares of plantation has been established by government. The Youth in Afforestation program has contributed immensely to the government plantation program. Aside of the government plantation established, the private sector has also contributed to the program by establishing an area of 16,060 hectares. From 2017 to July 2019, the government and private sector plantation program have so far generated employment for 83,247 people, production of natural forest timber, and disbursement of royalties to stakeholders. The Forestry Commission continues to monitor the production of natural forest timber across the country for export and domestic use. Statistics indicate that from 2016 to 2018, a total volume of 2.1 million metric tons of timber, is it metric tons? Cubic meters. Cubic meters of timber was harvested. This was made up of 1.7 million cubic meters, representing 81% from the forest reserves, and 400,000 cubic meters, representing 19%, coming from the off-forest reserve area. Ladies and gentlemen, the Forestry Commission and the Office of the Administrator of Stool Lands are responsible for the management of forest proceeds from timber harvesting on behalf of stools and landowners. It is therefore the mandate of the Ministry, through the Office of Administrator of Stool Lands and Minerals Development Fund Board, to disburse royalties accruing from natural forest timber stampage and rent to key stakeholders after providing for Forestry Commission's management fees. From 2016 to 2018, a total of 16 million and 31 Ghana cedis was disbursed to the beneficiary stool landowners, district assemblies, and traditional authorities. Timber utilization contracts, which is popularly called TUC. Ladies and gentlemen, under the Timber Resource Management and Legality Licensing Regulation 2017, LI 2254, holders of leases are expected to apply to the Forestry Commission to convert their lease holdings to timber utilization contracts within 6 months of the promulgation of the law. As part of the transparent process, the Commission placed advertisement in the national dailies between 6 and 28 May 2019. As at mid-year 2019, 165 applications had been received. 52 of the applications, which comprise 32 leases and 20 permits, have been validated, awaiting the Timber Rights Evaluation Committee evaluation as required by law. Ghana Cocoa Forest REDD+ program. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry has successfully implemented the Forest Carbon Partnership Fund, REDD+ Readiness Project, and expected deliverables. The Ghana Cocoa Forest REDD+ program is the premier emission reduction program amongst the 5 emission reduction programs in Ghana REDD+ strategy. The GCFRP aims to significantly reduce carbon emissions resulting from cocoa expansion into new forest frontiers through the promotion and adoption of appropriate climate-smart cocoa practices, which would increase cocoa yield. Through this program, Ghana aims to secure the future of the forest and make the cocoa sector climate resilient whilst sustaining the enhancing income and livelihood opportunities for farmers and forest users across the program area. On the 9th of July 2019, Ghana signed an emission reduction payment agreement with the World Bank, which indicates the conditions of sale and purchase of any potential emission reductions from the program over a 6-year period, that is from 2019 to 2024. By this agreement, Ghana is eligible to receive resource-based payment of $50 million for the reduction of 10 million tons of carbon dioxide. Mole National Park as World Heritage Site. Ladies and gentlemen, wildlife protected areas of the country under the forestry subsector are important for preserving biological diversity. They are major economic assets and sources of formal employment in management, tourism, associated private enterprises. These opportunities arise not only inside the protected areas, but also in their buffer zones and neighboring communities. Ghana has 7 national parks within the wildlife protected area. The Mole National Park, the largest wildlife protected area, is one of the favorite ecotourism destinations in Ghana. It also contributes to the conservation and sustainable management of natural resources. From 2016 to 2018, the total number of visitors to ecotourism sites and zoological gardens recorded was 611,998,000, and revenue generated amounted to 8.9 million Ghana cedis. In terms of visitation to ecotourism sites, Mole National Park recorded 51,432 over the period. To boost the ecotourism potential of Mole National Park, it is imperative that the wildlife status is scientifically documented. The last animal census conducted in the park was in 2006, and there is an urgent need to update this information to allow for a review of its management plan and to proceed with an application to UNESCO to consider the park as a World Heritage Site. In order to get the Mole National Park listed as a World Heritage Site, the Forestry Commission, through the European Union delegation in Ghana, undertook a wildlife census to update the number of species of animals in the park at a cost of 130,376 euros, combating illegal activities. Ladies and gentlemen, the second approach of the Commission's law enforcement is the deployment of the 14 Rapid Response Team to forest reserves and wildlife protected areas where illegal activities have been reported. From 2016 to 2018, about 177,801 assorted lumber, 487 chainsaws, 355 dredging machines, 68 logs, 279 vehicles were seized, and same have been confiscated to the state. The minister under the law is mandated to appropriate these equipment to any government institution after gazetting. So we live up to expectation. In addition, an estimated area of 3,277 hectares of illegal farms was destroyed, and 774 suspects arrested for forest and wildlife offenses, out of which 293 were successfully prosecuted. In spite of all these efforts of the Rapid Response Teams and the National Task Force, Military and Forestry Commission staff, illegalities continue across the nation's forests and wildlife protected areas. Control of illegal rosewood exploitation. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to shed light of the recent public outcry on the menace of illegal harvesting and export of rosewood. Rosewood export started in Ghana in 2004 with an initial volume of only 18 cubic meters in that year. The export volume and value have increased since 2009, when the government granted permit to 5 companies to remove all trees, including economic trees, in the reservoir to make way for the construction of the Bui Dam. China is the dominant importer of Ghanaian rosewood, representing over 90% of the total exports. Various governments in the past have recognized the need to apply a ban as a measure to control its exploitation. In March 2019, ladies and gentlemen, the ministry placed a ban on both the issuance of salvage permit and export of the rosewood in line with recent exports of over-exploitation and illegalities in the system. Although the ban is still in place and the ministry has not, emphasis mine, the ministry has not issued any salvage permit since then. However, there has been numerous media reports of exploitation and export of the species in which some international media houses have also carried the story. If you will recall, there was a recent investigation by Environmental Investigation Agency in which some government officials were cited for corruption. Further to that, the Secretariat of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, CITES, have also petitioned the government to investigate the matter. Subsequently, the minister constituted a 7-man committee comprising of representatives from civil society organizations, the Ghana Revenue Authority, Customs Division, Parliamentary Select Committee on Lands and Forestry to unravel the allegations made by the EIA. As I speak, the committee is in the northern region of Ghana as part of their task to unravel the allegations. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to assure you, the general public, that the ministry is poised to curb the illegalities in the rosewood trade, and I would make available the findings of the investigation to the general public as soon as they are ready. Ladies and gentlemen, the ministry will pursue government agenda to develop the mining subsector, especially the bauxite industry, the iron and steel industry, and also provide security of tenure for the citizenry and restore the forest cover of the nations whilst providing employment security for the youth. I'm done.